People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, I'm an Arsenal fan. You know, I hope we sign some players. You know, the most exciting one I'm seeing right now is Willian. Tell a lie, I'm hopeful of trying to get Coutinho on loan. That would be decent within our contexts, people. But Arsenal fans aren't going to have too much to scream and shout about. You know, Man United, 1 minute Sancho's coming, then he's not, then he's coming, then he's not. We'll see what happens when the window is closed. But Man City have signed a winger. You know, I say winger. I think he's got potential to play across a bunch of positions. He's actually said he looks at David Silva as a sort of guide point, and later on in his career he will play deeper. Ferran Torres, you know, he's 20 million or something like that. That's a steal. I want him to hit the ground running because I think he's a terrific young player. Valencia, I know they've had managerial changes and the way the club is run isn't the best, but they've shot themselves in the foot. They should have at least got double for him, you know. Their mistake, you know, they let his contract run down. He's got a year left. 20 million is better than nothing. I wanted Arsenal to buy him. Arsenal have seen him play live in action. We've looked at him and Carlos Soler and all of these players, you know, but every other club has lost. City have gained, you know. For City as well, you know, Jadon Sancho is of no relevance, but apparently they're entitled to a decent percentage of the Sancho deal if he does go to Manchester United, and I think they stand to bank like 15 million. So, you know, they get 15 million from a player that never played the first team for them, regardless of how good I think he is. Add another 5 million, they've paid for that transfer themselves. Obviously, Leroy Sané is left. I like Ferran Torres. I think he's going to be a hit. Of course, he's only 20. You know, I think he's only been in the game about 3 years. There's many things he can improve. You know, he doesn't do anything perfect like 10 out of 10 yet. There's still obvious improvements and he will need time to adapt and things, but I think he's got all the components. Obviously he's got a fellow compatriot in Pep Guardiola. Apparently they wanted him last year, allegedly. He can play on the left and the right. You know, he can do the sort of playing in tight spaces. He can take, what I like as well, he can take someone down the line and put on a show. I think he's not afraid to relish going at someone 1v1. I think he's comfortable on either flanks. He can actually play behind the striker. I think he's got good balance. I think he's an intelligent footballer, which is a good thing for Pep Guardiola, because you look at the players Pep has, you know, they're either very intelligent footballers, or it seems when he gets his hands on them, their intelligence improves. Like Kyle Walker, he seems a better all-rounded person, understanding the game sort of thing. You know, and obviously Ferran Torres, he creates a lot of chances, and that City you want you, and you know, he's a good option to complement their side. You know, it's down to him if he wants to be a first team regular or first name on the team sheet sort of thing. You know, I was reading, to go with this, I was reading an article on Sky Sports, and they said he created 9 big chances this season, which is the 13th across La Liga, while completing 54 take-ons, the 20th most. So there's not too much to read into that, but I know Valencia have a very defensive system. You remember Marcelino had Gabriel looking like a world beater, and he got 5 assists, 4 goals, which is a decent return, you know, considering their top goal scorer, as Sky Sports put it, Maxi Gomez, only scored 10 goals, people, and the whole team just scored 46. So it does seem like a team that is not attacking centric, or a team that isn't clinical. You'd like to think with City, where, you know, you've got to improve a lot of things, but they're going to be on the ball more, they're going to be offensive, they're going to, you know, he can add to his goals and add to his radar and things. I do think he can get a bit stronger as well. I do think he can do things slightly quicker. I do think he can add even more variety into his game, because I think he's got the good base level of that. Like I said, 1v1, he's decent, he's very technical. It's what you'd expect from a Spanish wideman sort of thing. Obviously, you want him to bring his game up. You know, you've got to play more inside now, which he does already, and just take your game up to another level. I want to see his stats properly. Like, so let me go and transfer him out, people. He's actually, I've just typed his name out, and he's hit out at, Ferran Torres actually hit out at some people. I'm not going to speak about it, but apparently he's got his old captain, Danny Pereiro, who used to play for QPR, I believe. No clue why he's doing that, but let him do his thing. So yeah, apparently I see everything from 20 million to 37 million, people, so I don't know. But yeah, he got 4 goals, 5 assists in 34 La Liga appearances. I'm trying to see how much he's got in total, people, because essentially that's all that matters. What he's for Valencia, he's got 9 goals and 12 assists in 97 appearances. In La Liga, he's made 71 appearances, 6 goals, 7 assists. So this is someone very much that right now is going to complement the side and add to the ranks at City. But it's down to him. If he develops, if he scores goals, if he brings his game up, you become a first name on the team sheet. You know, you have to relish that competition playing for Manchester City, especially playing in them wide options. And he will recognise this quickly, because if you know, I'm sure he don't want to sit on the bench, and you're going to have to recognise the level you're going to have to be be at to get ahead of Sterling, ahead of Mahrez, Bernardo Silva even on the flanks, and all the other options they can play around with and things like that, people. Wonder what the young players are thinking, because if you're Jaden Barth and players like that, yeah, there's still options, but you've just seen another, and regardless of how good Ferran is, but you've just seen another man who's, you know, not too much older than you in 20 come in. Does that make it harder for you to break into the first team? I don't know. Does that give you something to consider with leaving? I'm not too sure. But yeah, man, Ferran Torres, he looks to be a decent player. It looks like Hojbjerg is on the way to Spurs. Personally, I think that's a decent signing. I think obviously with Hojbjerg, he's hardly groundbreaking. You know, you don't really see him getting goals and assists. But he's a player I like, man. I think Spurs need someone like that, man. I think he could be decent for them. I think he understands the midfield role fully. I think he's very vocal. He's got a very good mentality. I think, you know, I wouldn't say he's the best passer or the maddest passer, but I do think he can kind of play from deep and bring the ball forward and pass it to the guys who can do the more creative stuff. I think he organises the midfield a decent amount compared to some of their options they've got. I think he's a decent signing for them. I like Hojbjerg, man. Like I said, he's not going to get goals and assists, but he's going to put himself around. He's going to muck in for the cause. I think his mentality will make him a good fit with Jose, and I think he's a good option for them. For 15 million, I think that's an okay signing, man, because I'd rather him in the midfield than Winks. I think he can offer more than Sissoko. I think he could do the sort of receiving the ball off the centre halves and allowing the other players to shine, and obviously he gets around the field. I think it's a decent signing, Hojbjerg, man. So yeah, Spurs and Southampton have agreed deals in principles for the transfer of Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg and also Kyle Walker-Peters. Hojbjerg has ability as well, man. He's been at Bayern Munich. He was highly rated by Pep Guardiola. For whatever reason, he's not a world beater, but I think it's a decent signing for Spurs. But for what it's worth, apparently a fee in the region of 15 million has been agreed for Hojbjerg. And to be fair, you know, them sort of signings there is foolproof, because they, you know, say what you want about Levy, he knows how to make money, but you'd imagine even if Hojbjerg, you know, turns out to be a quote-unquote flop and things like that, like Ndombele right now because of his bust up with Jose, had to do it, Spurs. But you know, you'd imagine with Hojbjerg you can make 15 million back. You know, obviously with that little fee, I don't know what they're going to do in terms of wages and incentives and things, but you'd imagine if he doesn't hit the ground running at Spurs or look like he's as fit for Spurs, within 6 months or a year, you could get your 15 million back, and this is maybe even make a little profit on that. He's decent, man, and I think he boosted their ranks. But yeah, they've agreed 15 million for him, and you know, really and truly, they're only paying about 3 million because they're gonna get 12 for Kyle Walker-Peters to join the Saints. And you know, Kyle Walker-Peters had a decent loan spell. And you know, I don't know if Spurs will sign another right back, because I do think that's an area of weakness for them. You know, even Aurier's been linked with moves away. If Kyle Walker-Peters leaves, then you'd imagine surely someone's coming in. They did try to get Meunier, who's gone to Dortmund. So it'd be decent, and Spurs have to get a move on. You know, they need better, like us, they need to revamp the squad and inject some better players in a couple of positions. You know, I think they need a centre half. Right back is a serious area to look at as well. Central midfield needs to be addressed. Clearly they need a backup or a rotation option for Kane, or to play with Kane, or just another forward within their ranks. I know they've sent on loan Troy Parrott, so we'll have to see what happens in that regards, people. So we'll have to see. And you know, Ndombele's been linked with Inter Milan, and you know, he is probably the biggest flop in the Premier League in terms of the fee and the expectations. He's done nothing. But I do think it would be a shame, because I think I've watched Ndombele since he was, you know, on loan at Lyon, or even before that when he was at Amiens. Avignon, I can't say the name, but he's a decent player, man. Like, he's very good technically. I thought it was going to be a hit in the Prem, man. Like, I really thought and I still maintain a lot of that. But as you lot know, with Pogba and now Ndombele with Jose, it's very political. Moving away from that, folks, and it looks like Alexis Sanchez is going to make another free transfer, this time to Inter Milan. Now, for Man United, that would probably be one of the best pieces of business they can do in terms of outgoings, because, you know, if the last 2 years of his deal, I think they owe him about 60 million if he was to, well, 55, if they was to, you know, go through with that. And that has been one of the most costly free transfers in history. It hasn't worked out. You know, Mkhitaryan and Alexis, both sets of players, you know, in theory could have done decent for their teams, but failed to hit the ground running. Both just poor, really, and both costly for teams. Like, we've had to let Mkhitaryan go for free because of these wages, and now Alexis, you know, it's been quite costly for both teams. But apparently talks are progressing on a settlement which is thought will see Alexis Sanchez leave Manchester United on a free transfer to join Inter Milan. As you lot know, since August last year, United have been still paying a portion of his 560k a week wages. He's thought to be on course to sign a 3-year deal with Inter Milan worth 6.3 million a year. You know, it's thought to be on a free transfer. And, you know, the stats are there. Alexis has been woeful, but, you know, he's going to leave Manchester United after only bagging 5 goals in 45 appearances since 2018. So that sums up how poor he is, essentially, people. But that's all I wanted to speak about briefly and quickly. So I've done that. Let me get out of here and not waste any more of your time. People, DG, I'm out.